Yes, people, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It is time for the cool down. Brighton 3, Leeds United 0. It is the morning after. Yeah, I still don't feel any better about the performance. Not going to lie to you people, but we're going to get into Daniel Farke's comments. Some things I agree with, some things I very much disagree with, and also statements that would have got Jesse Marsh burned at the stake. But before we get into it, please like the video, people. And listen, I forgot to shout out Ash yesterday. I did flash it up yesterday, but thank you for becoming a member, Ash. Much appreciated to you and all members of the channel. You make this thing go, and it cannot be underestimated. Jay Racer here early. What's going on, Jay Racer? Morning, KG and all. Farke is starting to make Jesse Marsh look like Don Revy. The FDL, that's Farke Defense League. Yeah, okay, yep, keeping Farke in his job as hamstrung us. So yeah, let's get into some of the stuff. I won't keep you too long today. I won't keep you too long. But yeah, Byron in the house, morning KG, had nightmares from that result. Yeah, it was horrendous. And look, guys, I need to make it clear as well. We're gonna lose games, and that's not a problem. It is a problem, but I understand where we are. But it's how you lose a game for me. There's ways of losing, and yesterday's game was just an abomination from start to finish, and there was no positives from yesterday for me. And I said it in the match reaction, and I say it today. I don't think there was any positives. Farke is trying to claw for some, and we'll get into that in his comments. But there was no positives from yesterday. It was literally bad for everyone, probably bar Okafor. And even he could have made a couple of better decisions at times with the ball. So we're going to get these games, but we're going to have to keep the score down. And I'll get into that a little bit later with a table. But we're going to have to keep the score down when we lose games. We can't lose 3-0. If you're going to lose by 3, score 1, score 2. Keep the goal difference respectable, because at this moment in time, we're starting to lose that battle as well from all the goals we're conceding. Chris saying here, Farke has a similar record to Marsh, yet the fans love him. I don't get it. Yeah, I know. It's probably because of the whole thing of promotion. That's probably got him some credit in the bank. I don't know. I don't know why fans get attached to players and managers. I don't have those kind of real life issues where I've got problems with, real life relationships. I don't know what it is with Farke that people are drawn to. And I've made myself clear, as Chris and everyone else will know, I give him credit where it's due, but he has his flaws. And he had his flaws when we got 100 points. I say that 100 points should have been 110 if it wasn't for some of his flaws. So, yeah, look. Let me say, Jay Racer, Georgie probably enjoyed disrespecting us, and fair play to him. Yeah, and we said that in the yesterday's match reaction. We've got no player on the level of Jorginho, and that's why everything that we do in this division is going to be a hard task. But look, let's get into some of his comments from yesterday. We don't have to this is where I do agree with him. We don't have to overanalyze the game. They were the better side and deserved to win. I said that yesterday. I think I said a couple of times yesterday, sometimes you don't have to overcomplicate your analysis. They literally they were playing with us yesterday. But then he continues, overall, if you look at the game, it was quite equal in possession and corners, but they created way more and were more clinical. I mean, what does that even mean? Because corners can be gotten from different sources. And this is what he's talking about, by the way. We had 7 corners to their 4. But on the basis of the numbers alone, and I watched this game, so I know what I was seeing, we had 2 shots on target. So it's not like we were working for Bruggen to the bone here. These were either corners gotten from block crosses or from shots that were going nowhere near it and the defenders blocked it out. It doesn't mean that we were peppering Brighton at any point. Verbruggen's fingertips, by the way, didn't get stung until the 85th minute. I think he saved the one from Metro with his foot and then from Stack with his hands. So Verbruggen was under no pressure. So you don't get any points for these kind of numbers. Continuing. We did not start well. They scored out of this. Brighton wants to invite you to open the block, and if you're 1-0 down, it's difficult. I quite liked how we handled it. We were way better. Free kicks and corners. Delivery not great, though. Started the second half well. Guys, I don't know what he was watching. And maybe some of you agree. Fine. If you do, put it in the comments. I don't know what he was watching. We were awful in this game. Like, we may have had maybe 10 minutes worth of decent play. And I'm probably being generous with the word decent there. We weren't in the game at all. Brighton literally let us have the ball because we weren't doing anything with it. He's talking about possession. When Brighton were getting the ball, they were moving forward and they had gaps to exploit. When we had the ball, everyone was passing to the side or backwards. So I don't know what he's talking about here, and this is where I get confused. And it's quite funny because he was talking in the pre-match press conference about Tanaka, and he likes how people have self-reflection and self-accountability. Well, if there's one thing that this manager does not have, and has never like shown it while he's been here, at least, and people at Norwich said the same, he doesn't have any self-accountability either. It's crazy. Jay Racer here saying that's practically paraphrasing Jesse preaching. Look at the metrics, Simon. Look at the metrics spiel in the Simon Jordan interview. Yeah, but it sounds different, doesn't it? It sounds different when it comes from Jesse Marsh to Daniel Farke. And let me just make this clear. I'm not a Jesse Marsh defender, but I'm going with the inconsistencies that I see where Jesse Marsh used to get slated for stuff like this. Yeah, we had the better half, and when you guys talk about the back post, it sounds crazy, but when Daniel Farke says it, it's like, oh, all right, Daniel. I honestly don't understand, but let's continue. Trying to get a foot back in the door with Metcha and Stack. Reaction good in the last moments, but poor start was crucial and cheap goals in the second half. Yeah, okay. Trying to get a foot back in the door with Metcha. You may as well. No, I can't say what I was going to say there. Let me chill. All right. He continues. In several away games at Fulham and Wolves, we created good XG. Not today. First time in a long time. We have not created much XG. Not good enough, but across 10 games, sometimes games come around like this for a newly promoted team. Arsenal won. This is the second. Again, there's some truth in this, no doubt, for a newly promoted team. But I'm almost going to take Sunderland out of these conversations, people, because they're not the same as us and Burnley. They're just not. But when we're seeing Sunderland go 1-0 down at Chelsea and pick up 3 points, when we see them go to Palace and pick up a point, when we see them go down to 10 men against Villa and get something, we're not the same. We're just not the same teams, people. So there are going to be games like this for this side, for sure, and with this manager as well. But it doesn't have to come down to this. And the way we set up yesterday was pretty much the same as we did against Arsenal. We were trying to play out from the back, and I thought he would have learned from that. But obviously he hasn't. He probably thought we could go toe-to-toe with Brighton in their recent form. But Brighton, on their worst day, are much better than this Leeds United team. And I know that hurts some people to hear. Listen, I'm a Leeds United fan, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If we were one of the best teams in the league, you wouldn't be able to shut me up, by the way. I'd be singing from the rooftops and I'd be texting all my friends. But the fact is, in this division, we're one of the worst teams. And you have to get used to that fact. If I know that some people are just straight homers, but we're one of the worst teams, player for player. Another one as well, Byron talking about Perry. Yeah, Perry's distribution wasn't great yesterday, but Perry, people keep going on Perry. If it wasn't for Perry yesterday, people, this score would have been 5 or 6. So Lucas Perry getting all the stick for distribution, he made saves that kept that goal difference respectable. So if you're going to go pick at players, there's players that you can go at. Goodmanson for 1, culpable for 2 goals. But you know what? You know how Goodmanson is going to be okay? And he's been good. So I'm not going at Goodmanson here, but he's got no competition. We didn't buy another left-footed left back to give him actual competition. We got James Justin, who didn't cover himself in glory against West Ham when he came on. And we've got Sam Byron. So Goodmanson, he's going to have to go again. But there's a few players that don't have to go again. All right? But look, let's carry on with Farke's comments. Okay, and this again, we were 1-0 down, wanted to take more risk and play with more of a traditional 10 like last season, which allows more attacks for the opponent. Brendan can play the central role, but he lacks physicality in the middle. This is the thing again, isn't it? It's one of these things where we're talking about Brendan again, and a lot of people saying about him getting the full 90 minutes yesterday. But what I will say, and again, I'm not a Brendan Aronson defender. You always have to make these caveats before you say these things. You could have literally taken anyone off yesterday, and it wouldn't have mattered. So there were some ones where you think, maybe he could have had more time, like a Tanaka or someone like that. But you could have taken anyone off yesterday. They all stunk out the joint. And I think Okafor was probably taken off in lieu of just resting him with the game being gone for the next game. But there was a lot of people that shouldn't have survived 90 minutes yesterday. Brendan not being the only one. But the thing is, we've seen a consistent thing with him. It wasn't working for him on the wide right, so he tried to move him centrally where it still didn't work. And it's to that point where people on the bench, our squad members are going, it doesn't matter what Brendan does. When he does something right, he gets talked up like he did last week, and the Leeds United accounts aren't shutting up about him. But then he'll have another one of these regular Brendan performances, and it will just be swept under the carpet again. And he probably will start the next game, which is crazy to me. Carrying on, I think there's a little bit more. Oh yeah, here we are. Did anything please you today? Reaction after 10 minutes, dominating possession in an away game for periods. How we started in the second half, this was the other thing. When you are 3-0 down, sometimes you can see more goals. You can concede more goals, but it was important to show togetherness at this point. But that's not the full quote, people. I heard him talk. This is the full quote. At 3-0 down, he felt it was important to show spirit and unity. And this is where I say, going back to Jesse Marsch, let me just say, if Jesse Marsch had said, at 3-0 down, I'm proud of the players for the spirit and unity they showed. Oh my God, I can only imagine the comments that Jesse Marsch would be getting for saying this kind of BS. Crazy stuff. Why don't we just go from 0-0 and have the spirit and unity there? Why don't we have a game plan for Brighton away from home from there instead of having to go 3-0 down? And then you've got Joe Rodon losing his head and a few other players losing their heads because they're getting frustrated. And as someone left a comment in the comments saying that they don't think the players are playing for Daniel Farke, I highly disagree. They're absolutely following Farke's instructions, because what did Farke say last week against West Ham, which was puzzling within itself? He did not like the first half because of how chaotic it was, how wild it was. He didn't like how it was, even though we were pressing from the front and we were looking good on the front foot against West Ham in the first half. But he didn't like it. So what we saw this week was a complete reverse of that, where he said, no, batten down the hatches. Brighton are going to obviously be better, but I don't want it to go out of control the way it did against Brighton, against West Ham. But the thing is with this, is that Brighton were getting through us with all the low blocks that we had. They were getting through the gaps easily as well. There was so much space. Jorginho was creating so much space. He had 2-3 players around him, and he just glided through unless he was getting fouled. So they are following Farke's instruction. So people saying they're not playing for him, they're absolutely following him to the letter. They are. Johnny, I know. Listen, this isn't a Farke out show or anything else like that, but these are the deficiencies that he has at this level, and it's going to be proven time and time again. And it doesn't help with the team he's got. That's why I say the team is, and the manager, it's just a mix of, if we finish 17th, they've done an outstanding job to stay up. Doesn't matter what happens with any of the other clubs and what they're doing and why they've gone down. Doesn't matter to us. If this team stays up, it will be a miracle. It will be a miracle. And I don't, listen, we're going to have to go week to week with this, and you've got to have some kind of hope. Otherwise, what's the point in doing this? But there are going to be more results like the one against Brighton. Hopefully not with the performance the way it was, but we also have to stop conceding goals. And that's the thing as well. We can't change much in the defense, and I think it would be very harsh to drop Jakob Biol, but I feel like he'd be the easy link for Farke to change something after a 3-0 loss, bring back Strauch and put Biol back on the bench. But if that happens, then you obviously know that there is real favoritism there. But we can't drop Jadon, and I wouldn't drop Jadon. And let me make this clear. Goodmanson and Bogle have been 2 of our best performers, so you don't drop those players for no reason. You give them another go. The fact is they don't have real competition behind them. Even James Justin isn't genuine competition for Bogle. He's a backup. And Goodmanson doesn't have anybody, so you're going to have to roll with those guys again. So you can't really change much at the back, but you can change something going forward. And here we are in terms of another one, Brendan. And I'm not singling him out, but we know that he's not going to get dropped. But Dan James is back fit again. Willian Onto might be even more ready by next week. He's got more than a full week now to recover even further. We need something different. It can't just be Okafor looking like our danger man, and that is it. It has to be something different. Tintin, can't we change to a 3-5-2? Let me just take a sip. Tintin, we can change to anything that you like, but it's about what the manager's going to do. And as you've seen in a championship and what you've seen so far, we don't start with two strikers. And if we're not going to start with two strikers in the championship, I don't know what makes you think that he's going to change the two strikers in this division. So Brendan Aronson could be one that comes out, but we know that's not going to happen. He finds a way to put him in the team. It's not working on the wing. He tried to put him in the 10. Got to go back to this guy, Calvert-Lewin. He has to come out next week. Has to come out. It's time for something different. And again, we're talking about the differences between Daniel Farke and Jesse Marsch. If Joel Peru is putting up these kind of numbers and also missing the chances that he's missing, he's getting killed. He's getting absolutely slated on here, but for some reason, DCL is getting that pass. Yeah, Longstaff was poor, Max, but this is the thing now with the players that we've got. Do we keep him in for the fact that he might be able to get a set piece on Rodon's head in the next game against Forest, in particular, who are physically strong? It's something that you have to consider, but he's been poor from open play for a little bit. But the set pieces have been saving him. But it's one of those now where who would you take out? Would it be Ampadu after an indifferent performance yesterday? He got better in the second half. I will give Ethan credit for that, but he started very poorly. It's one of these. What we're always going to have, people, and something else you're going to have to get used to, is there always will be someone that played poorly in the previous week that will have to start in the 11, and it's going to have to be at least one or two of those. We don't have the depth in the squad. So yeah, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and this is and just again on numbers, it's not just your eye saying it, the numbers back it up. And you guys know me, I don't like to go with numbers. I like to go with my eyes, but sometimes data can back up what you're seeing. There's no hold-ups per second, there's no flick-ons per second, but what there is their shot conversion rate and big chances missed. And at this point, at this moment in time, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has missed 5 big chances. But I want you to have a look and see, is the Wolves news? I'll get into Wolves in a bit then. Just remind me as I go through this though. These are the shot conversion rates for big chances missed. And obviously you're looking at this, these players, and they've got some good goals in them. You got Mateo, scored again yesterday. Haaland is Haaland. Thiago's doing well for Brentford. The shot conversion rates are very high. I expect those to probably regress at some point. Even Gyökeres has got 20. Mohamed Salah, 17.4. Atara, 11. Calvert-Lewin is at a 6.7. 6.7. Okay? He's got 6.7. Voltemad has got 30.8. Semenyo, 30. And Enzo Fernandez, who's the midfielder, 17.7%. Look at the outlier in this list of people. And he's got the one goal to his name, 6.7. And his rate last year, if I'm quoting this correctly, was 7.14. So he's around where he will be. But that is not good enough, people. And it's certainly not enough for him to keep on getting unlimited starts while Joel Peru isn't even getting on the pitch as a sub. What? So again, with all that hold up stuff, flick on stuff, and I agree at some points yesterday he was isolated, but then you showed how limited he is when he was one-on-one with Dunk and couldn't even get around him, man. Dunk just like batted him away. There has to be a point now where Joel Peru can come in. And what I want to see as well, if Peru gets the same little chances that DCL has had, or gets the one chance that he gets and misses, I want to see the same grace shown to Joel Peru. But I know I won't see that. I know I won't see it. But you know what? At this point, we're probably not going to see Joel Peru. And that's why I will repeat again. Joel Peru, nothing against him. But if you're not going to play him, and if you're going to keep Daniel Farke, you've got to sell him in January. You've got to, while his value is still high. Because if he continues with this kind of appearance rate come the end of the season, we're not going to probably get back the 16 million we paid for him. They'll be saying, well, no, we're not giving you 16 million. He hardly played last year. And how many goals did he score in the end? At the moment, he's on 0-0 for the lack of opportunities he's had to play. It's just not good enough, people. I don't know how people are defending Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, people. But I'm not here to understand it. I'm just here to tell you what's best for Leeds United Football Club. And if this is the best that it is, then we go in one way. Simple as that. I said in yesterday's video, they need to rectify some of the mistakes they made. They won't do that. They're not going to loan out Mecha to where Mecha should be. Mongolia, somewhere in that, if they've got a league over there, maybe the Scottish First Division. They're not going to do that. They'll persist with Mecha, and he'll continue to be the number 2 striker at this great football club that once housed Mark Viduka, Robbie Keane. Days long gone. But now we're relying on Calvert-Lewin and Mecha. It's insane. Rodon has got more goals than him. Yeah, I mean, listen, at this point of this season, the way that the season's going in terms of set pieces, there's a few defenders with more goals than strikers. So I'm not going to put that on DCL. But what I will put on is the stuff that you saw yesterday where he's not even trying to meet the ball that Jaden Bogle put in on around the 16th minute yesterday. He just started running. In the 6-yard box, he started running. No. Mecha is the new Tyler Roberts. I don't know who's worse, honestly. And people that call it an agenda if you want. Mecha is one of the worst strikers I've seen in recent times at this football club, and we've had some stinkers. There's nothing about the guy that I see and looks like a Premier League player. Nothing at all. What else have we got? Sergio Peru, yeah, we'll see. Also, the other thing as well, what was said is, you know, a few people saying we're not expected to beat Brighton. That is true, people. But when we're on that same token, some of those people also think we're still going to stay up. But on that account, who are we going to beat them? Because we've had a couple of games. We got a good point against Newcastle. I will maintain that as a very good point. We dropped 2 at the death against Bournemouth due to the tactical setup of the team. We give Fulham their first victory of the season, and you know, if we take something from them, maybe they continue in a muddled you know, run of form. But you know, they get their first win. Tottenham, you know, we lose to them. Burnley, we lose to them. For me, that's the last 3 points that we still have to recover. And of course, Brighton yesterday, who have been in different form, they get 3 points and a clean sheet that they don't usually get. The point being, we're going to have to start picking up points. And that's why I put in the poll, is Forest away a must-win or a must-not lose? Guys, and Farke will probably talk about this again with every game is a must-win for Leeds. Yes, it will be. If we're not picking up victories, of course it will be. And we've had, if you look at the fixtures on the screen, these aren't bad fixtures that we've had so far. If you look at in totality of the Premier League, Newcastle at home, tough, sure. Fulham away, tricky, yeah, but we could have come away with something with that. Wolves, who are just, you know, horrendous at this point. Bournemouth, it's a good point, but in context of the game, we should have had 3. Tottenham at home, never going to be easy, so I accept that as well. They were just a better team. Burnley away, that's a soft one. Should have been a soft one. West Ham at home, yeah. Brighton in the current form. It's actually not the worst fixtures that you could have asked for the starting 10. But now we're getting into a period where we've got Sean Dyche's Forest next. After the break, Villa at home, Man City away, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brentford away. And Brentford, even though I still think they'll be in a little trouble, have been decent at home. Palace, Sunderland, listen, we got to win. So it's not must not lose. For me, we've got to start winning if we have any hope at all of staying up this season. Jack saying here, we're not going to stay up on current form. Burnley will finish higher than us if we carry on like this. Byron saying, honestly, if DCL gets more than 7 goals this season, I'll be shocked. I'll be stunned if he gets more than 7. I don't have him for 7 goals. I don't. And if he's going on at this rate where he's got 1 in 8, yeah, it might be a wrap. It might be a wrap. And just on another thing as well, because somebody said that the good thing about Forest is that they're going to be playing in Europe. Well, we've already had this previously with Tottenham where they played in Europe on the Thursday, then they came to our ground, beat us. Also, Brighton this week, even though it was a changed team, they still had to prepare and go away. They played Arsenal midweek and they still beat us. So Forest next week do have a European game, but there's no guarantees that means that they should be weaker, against us on the Sunday. Robert, losing largely sums it up. No flair allowed, just grinding headless chicks. Oh man, something else that we need to clean up. Obviously, defending is one. Listen, I know our home form is going to be our bread and butter. And look, home. I'll give you the home form in a bit, but this is our away form. In the 5 games we've played, we've lost 4. and obviously we won the one at Wolves. But in the other games, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I don't think we've scored in any of the other way games. We've got Arsenal away, didn't score. Wolves, we obviously scored in that one. Burnley didn't score in that one. Fulham didn't score in that one. Brighton, we didn't score in that one. So we've scored no goals in the other games apart from the one that we've won against Fulham. That's crazy. That has to improve no matter what you're doing at home, and we're still not taking full advantage of our home form, which isn't bad. Let me just get that up here. Let me scoot across. We're currently 13th in the home form table, but then other teams will eventually jump us, like Everton, Chelsea, Tottenham, Forest. That will change over time, but that's got to improve, people. The away form is terrible. So yeah, people saying, is the mic breaking up? Let me hold on. Let me just see if that's any better. It looks like the mic's okay from here, but yeah, I'm almost done anyway. We're almost done. But yeah, Wolves have got some news. I'll get that up in a bit. Mr. P with the super chat. 49ers and Farkers are stubborn. That could cost us. Talent is either criticized for non-football actions, i.e. Jed Spence, or moved on largely. Yeah. Let me just go to Fabrizio then, because it looks like Wolves have pulled the trigger. They only just give that man a new contract a few weeks ago. Yeah. Okay. So there we are. Okay, no problem. Yeah, just if there's ever any problem, just let me know. But yeah, look, yeah. So Wolves now have pulled the trigger on Vitor Pereira. They literally gave him a new contract in season as well, which is incredible. But will that change their fortunes? We'll see who they get in. But yeah, it's just another thing to look at now. See if now Wolves get a new manager bounce from their new gaffer, whoever that will be. But they've been awful though, people. They have been absolutely terrible. No wins in 10. Yeah, it was coming, wasn't it, for Wolves? So again, there's more upheaval due to the promoted clubs doing what they've done, and Wolves are now looking for a new manager. We'll see who they get in. It could be Brendan Rodgers. See what he's about, but yeah, we've got to look after ourselves first and foremost. We've got to look after ourselves, and we've got to start picking up points. And we've got an horrendous fixture list coming up. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking that too. Maybe they can get off the bottom of the table, but it will take one hell of a run for them to get out of the bottom three and stay there. It's it's going to take jumping over other teams, and other teams obviously coming down to their level. So we'll see if it works for them, but it just shows you how interesting as a neutral that the Premier League has been so far in comparison to the previous 2 years. Darren saying, I hope they get Jesse Marsh. Tremendous. I think he's still Canada manager, isn't he? I think so. But yeah, good for Vitor Pereira, man. Signed a new contract. He'll get a nice, payout after that, after extending the years. Fair play to him. But yeah, listen, I think that is it, people. I don't think there's anything else. I think I've covered everything that I need to cover. Has anyone got anything as we exit this Sunday stream? And if you haven't already, of course, please like the video, share it out. Even if you disagree, share it out again. It's all good. Robert saying here, no win at Forest, no Farke anymore would do it for me. Oh yeah, nice one, KG. Give him a like. Haters, mate. I think he means laters, but yeah, I got it. Ram, that's far too early. We're going to do that next week in the preview. That's way too early. But yeah, let me just close the poll. Nottingham Forest away is a must win, 60%, must not lose 40%. It's a must win, people. Must win. Christopher here saying here, just think if West Ham and Wolves had strengthened, we'd be in the bottom three. We're on borrowed time. Well, look, there's all ifs and buts. If we had actually bought some real footballers instead of just meat and potatoes players, maybe we'd be higher. If we didn't sign DCL and sign someone that can actually score goals, maybe we'd be higher. But it's all ifs and buts, isn't it, Chris? That game can be played both ways, can't it? In terms of ifs and buts for different teams. And yeah, if we had sacked Farke in the summer and got Thiago Motta, who knows? But we are where we are, aren't we, people? Jack saying here, if Brighton could do that to us, imagine what's going to happen versus Liverpool and City. It's going to be bad. Yeah, like I said, the good performances that we've had have been against the teams that we're expected to beat. When we've come up against teams of quality, like the Tottenham at home, where even I can say there's nothing else that I think we could have done. I think Tottenham were just better. when we come up against Bournemouth, we perform well, but then Bournemouth really started to turn the screw when they made changes, and it was quite clear. Guys, before I go, I've done it again. I've done it again, and it's crazy. When you are nothing, you can get away with it, and that's how the world works. If you're extremely bad, people will talk about you. If you're extremely good, people will talk about you. But when you just do nothing and coast, you can get away with it. You're not getting away with it, Jack Harrison. Talking about squad utilization, this guy is literally doing nothing for the team. Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. This is another thing that needs to be rectified in January. Move this guy on in January, even if it's out on loan, and get in someone else on loan. I don't care what you do. We had these same issues with Jack Harrison before, but at least in a couple of years ago, he'd give you 3 games before he goes absolutely stone cold Steve Austin. This guy stinks at the place. He's given us nothing. But I hope he's just being used as a default because of the fitness of James and Nanto. But the fact that this guy keeps on coming on, we keep on talking about Metcher and all these guys. Harrison is just as bad. Harrison is just as bad, if not worse, because he's literally fading into the background. I keep forgetting to mention him because he's just so irrelevant. He's just doing nothing in any way, shape, or form that I just keep forgetting to mention him. But you're not getting away with it, Jack. I remembered you. 9 games, just nothing to show for it. Just move him on in January, people. He's got to go. He's got to go, but he's not the only one. And that's the problem at the club. And that's the problem that we face at this point in time. Jay Racer here. Too many people who don't mind Jack sticking around even when he's stinking it out. I got to be honest, I haven't seen that, Jay Racer. I don't get those kind of comments that say that they don't mind Harrison sticking around. Got to be frank with you. I've never seen that. But what I'm getting is that people aren't mentioning him because he's literally just coming on doing nothing. He's not missing anything. He's not losing the ball at anything. He's just coming on and just filling up a spot on the pitch. Yeah, Max, I forget he exists and he comes on the pitch and then I forget he's on the pitch. Max, that's where I am with him. That's why I keep forgetting to mention him. But he hasn't got away with it today. I got you, Jack. I got you. And you need to be moved on. But will he be moved on when Farke loves him? Probably not. But that will be it for the stream, people. What a way to end it on Jack Harrison. What stream. But look, people, give me your thoughts on anything additional that you want to talk about from the game yesterday or just in general as we look forward to very tough fixtures. Like the video before you go, people. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.